Alright guys, so let's take a look at this article from The Verge. God, they just don't learn their lesson, do they? Nzxt's new $700 pre-built gaming PC is an affordable entry-level option. Comes with an i3 and GTX 1650. i3s were made completely obsolete by the low-tier Ryzen CPUs because they absolutely crush the i3s. The Ryzen 3 3100 from AMD absolutely crushes Intel's 9100F in not only gaming but also productivity and workloads, so it's a hard sell for the 9100F. The absolute bottom of the barrel. This is the lowest end graphics card you can buy that's still sold today, and I don't know if it's still produced, but yeah, it's not great. Comes with i3 and GTX 1650. I would only buy the 1650 if I needed to put it in a system that did not have a power supply that could supply extra power. So something that would only take power from the PCIe slot. I would probably more likely just upgrade the power supply and get a 1650 Super if that's in my budget. Or I would just avoid getting a 1650. They're just not good. 1650 Super is a different tier though. The 1650 Super is actually good for the price, and I would consider that much more. This is probably the last graphics card I would buy for value. It's just a terrible value. And i3 as well. It's not a good value. For those interested in dipping their toes into the waters of PC gaming but aren't quite ready to take the full plunge, Nzxt has a pretty solid offer. It's not solid at all. You're gonna get dog shit performance. Okay, if you're spending $700 for a pre-built, I would expect something much better than this. Building PCs is not that hard, people. Like, just do a bit of research, and please do it so you don't get ripped off. At least do a bit of research so you don't buy something like this and end up with a shit can. You'll only get 60 FPS in Fortnite at 1080p. I can build like a $400 system that will outperform this. I will take that challenge. $900 for this? Really? 1660 Super, 9400F. I can have a PC build that's $1,000 that has a better CPU and a much better GPU. I can throw in a 2070 Super in there. Ryzen 5 3600 I'm pretty sure is just better than the 9400F. And 1660 Ti, 2070 Super is absolutely just going to crush this thing. Imagine spending $1,000 on a computer and only getting 100 FPS in Fortnite. I like how one of their features is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth ready. Like, alright dude. For $699, you can buy a solidly capable entry-level gaming PC with one of Nzxt's pretty sleek-looking tower cases. Solidly capable, just not in performance. Maybe physically, yeah. Maybe it can take a few hits more than other cases on the market because it's straight up just metal. Just don't hit the tempered glass, I guess. I'm gonna be honest, this case does look pretty cool. It's not terrible in airflow, but it's not great. It's not something, obviously, like closed off front panel, but gets as intake from the side. I've actually built a few systems with this case and the temperatures were fine every time I built it, so I'm not too concerned with that, and it's actually built pretty well. I wouldn't be too concerned over temps in this case. I'm pretty sure they've been proven to be fine, so I'm not worried about the case, but this case is literally $60, so where's the rest of the cost coming from? $700 for this thing, a shit can with an i3 and a 1650. So they have an i3 9100F. Oh no. Then they have MSI Ventus XS overclock. I'm pretty sure that's a dual fan white version. Let's just Google search this real quick. Yep, that's the model. It's selling for $150, but it's honestly not worth that much. Just go for a 1650 Super. They're around the same price. Like, I think 1650 Super is just slightly over, and you get so much more performance. Here's a 1650 Super for $170, and you get a single stick of RAM, dude. One stick of RAM, and it's budget RAM too. XPG GameX D10. This is budget RAM. It's 3000 megahertz. They couldn't even put 3200 for this price. It's probably just CL16, or if it's 18, that's actually tragic. So you're telling me for this price, you can add 2 sticks of RAM for dual channel? Or even at least 16 gigabytes of RAM? Come on, it's 2020, not 2018. Dual channel is gonna help it so much if you have 2 sticks of RAM instead of 1. And then you only have 8 gigs of RAM on top of that. They have Modern Warfare right here. Dude, that's gonna take like... How big is this game? Isn't this game huge? This game is 200 gigabytes and they have it listed here. And they have a 512 gig SSD included. No storage drive. For that money, you're getting an Intel Core i3 processor and GTX 1650 graphics card, which a company says is good enough to get you a stable 60 frames per second at 1080p on most PC games. Yeah, I can build a toaster that for like $400 that can beat this thing in performance. Okay guys, I lied. It's actually $492, and I could have cheaped out on some stuff. Like instead of the 1650 Super, I could have got a 1650, and it will still outperform the other system because this is actually dual channel RAM and a better CPU, and it comes with the CPU cooler as well. So yeah, I could have cheaped out on the motherboard more too, but I think this is a pretty good board. I've actually built with it and it's hasn't given me any problems. I think this is a good build if you're on a super tight budget, but if you want, you can get so much more for your money if you start spending a bit more. Like if you spend like $10 more, you can get a dual fin 1650 Super instead. Throw like 30 bucks in, get the Fantex mesh case. What is it, P300 mesh or something? Which will give you much better airflow. Buy some fans for like $12 from Amazon, get a pack of 3. This power supply seems alright. I'm not sure how good this is. I have not consulted the LTT PSU tier list, but yeah, probably won't blow your computer up. Thermaltake Smart 500 watt is I think a better option for $50. I've actually used that power supply in a build before and it hasn't given me any problems. I went with this RAM. It's just 8 gigabytes of RAM. You can spend like $60 total and get 3200 megahertz CL16 RAM from Crucial, and this is at least dual channel. It's 2x4, so you get 2 separate sticks, which will greatly increase your performance if you put it in the right slots. And yeah, I could have spent less on the motherboard, but I really didn't want to. But yeah, so this CPU comes with the CPU cooler. That's why I did not include one. You can also go with the Ryzen 3 3100 if this is unavailable. Only get the 12 nanometer one because the 14 nanometer has less performance. And this was like a refresh. I'm not sure if it's still available. It's probably like super inflated because it's bought out by everybody, because this is a super good deal for a processor. $85 for this. Yes sir. This is basically a Ryzen 5 2600. It will crush the 9100F any day. Alright, and this GPU will crush it any day. So just keep in mind that if you go with this motherboard, you will have to BIOS update it to use it with the latest CPUs, like the Ryzen 3 3100, 3300X, 3600. The Ryzen 5 1600 AF will work with the motherboard just fine because it's 2 generations old, so you'll be fine pairing those two. Not only is the processor underpowered, but so is your GPU, so basically you can't play anything. I mean, sure, you can play Fortnite at 60 FPS at 1080p on the lowest settings, but at least you can play Valorant at 60 FPS on the lowest settings. Okay, they say the 8 gigabytes is fine, but it's not even dual channel, so it's going to slow down everything. Everything's going to be much slower. But for the price, plus the convenience of having it arrive in the mail pre-built and ready to go, that's pretty solid value. No, it's not. It really isn't. Please don't buy this. How much did Nzxt pay The Verge to post this? I don't know. Or maybe The Verge just doesn't know what they're doing, and every time they say anything about computers, it just goes completely wrong. We're gonna build something that's actually reasonable and the performance that you should be getting if you spend $700 on the system. So okay, this is a build I made earlier that I was actually planning to build and put it on the channel. This system right here, it's just a bit overpriced from this one. It will absolutely crush this one, the Nzxt one. It will crush it. There's no competition. Like, this is a shit can, and this is an actual good computer. This one has a mesh front panel too. The cooling will be better, your temps will be better, your performance will be better. I could even get a 1650 Super. 1650 Super would absolutely crush the 1650. It just does. The 1650 Super is what Nvidia should have released in the first place. If you really want to stay around the $700 mark, okay, it's fine. Delete this. Choose video card. You could even downgrade the CPU to 4 cores. They're 3100 or 3300X, and it will still outperform the other computer by a long shot. And there you go, $717. And you actually get dual channel RAM, you get faster RAM, you get a better motherboard, you get about the same cooler, you get a much better CPU, you get a much better GPU, you get a better case, and you get the same storage. And overall, this thing crushes. You could even replace this CPU with the 3300X or 3100. The main difference between the 3100 and 3300X, these CPUs, and the 3600 is that the 3600 has 6 cores. So if you're interested in productivity, then you can spend the extra here. You can spend a little bit extra here, and the price is around $160 usually. You can get a computer that's good for gaming and productivity. If you don't care about that and you're just into gaming, most games just use 4 cores anyway. You're not going to see like huge gains from having more cores in games. So you can just replace it with the 3100 or 3300X, and you'll have like the same performance in game. And then you can upgrade your graphics card because you save money on the CPU. And you don't even need to get the CPU cooler because it comes included with one. But if you want like a cooler that's better at cooling, your temps will go down, and also it'll be quieter, then I would probably get it. Or if you plan on overclocking it all, which honestly on Ryzen isn't worth it that much because the gains are like not that great because it comes pushed out of the factory already by a good amount. So yeah, you get a better motherboard. I've had the regular B450 Tomahawk, and it's a great motherboard. It can still hold up today with modern CPUs. You have support for Ryzen 3000 CPUs right out of the box with the Max version, which is very nice. You can get like a P1 or something. There's probably better options like SN550. You can research that on your own. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that in this video, but I think SN550 is a bit better than the P1. I think it has DRAM and it's TLC, I believe. I don't know. Or whatever you want. You can mix and match stuff and change stuff. And I wouldn't change the case, honestly, because I went with this case because it has a mesh front panel, so your airflow will be good. You can even buy like a pack of fans from Amazon or something. They usually come pretty cheap. Like you can get like 4 for like $16 or 3 for $12 or whatever. And then you can just add intake or exhaust or whatever you need. I'm not sure what this case has included. I think it should have 1 intake, 1 exhaust, or just 1 exhaust. Yeah, you can just buy some like random black fans that have good reviews from Amazon and then install them. Both of those sound like decent deals. They're really not. They really are not. Especially if you're looking for a pre-built. Yeah, because all pre-builts are just completely terrible in pricing. Like they're just overpriced, especially this one. I would pay like $450 for them, maybe less, dude. I don't know. I wouldn't even pay $450 for this, dude. It's really not worth what they're asking, like $700. I don't know where they got that price from. See, what they do is they target people who don't know about computers. Okay, if you're buying a pre-built computer, then you probably don't know about computers that much, right? Or else most people just buy all the parts and build it themselves. So people just see this computer, they're like, oh yeah, it looks good. They're gonna read the Verge, and the Verge is gonna say, oh yeah, it looks like a solid deal, and when it's actually just a white shit can that's gonna give you 30 FPS, and yeah, when you turn the settings up in 1080p. If you buy a laptop at this price range, I see a lot of laptops that aren't that bad in pricing. Like, if you buy a laptop in this price range, it will easily outperform this thing. You just have to get the right one if you get the right laptop. Here they're just talking about like the more expensive ones. Oh yeah, you can consider these, but if you're gonna consider these, you might as well build it yourself. Well, if you're considering this, I strongly recommend building it yourself, or find a different pre-built because this one sucks. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, they don't even give all the specs, dude. They don't even specify all the specs. They don't say what the motherboard is. They don't say what power supply you're getting. They don't even say what case you're getting, but I mean, I assume it's this one. I honestly wonder how much Nzxt paid the Verge for this. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I have yet to find a pre-built that I would consider a good deal. I've seen laptops that are good deals. If you want to be safe, do some research, you know? Ask somebody who knows about computers, who actually does, not like Stefan from The Verge. Okay, I wouldn't ask this guy for tips on computers, but yeah. I like the replies. Oh my god, this was a tragedy. And then, you guys should just see the clip afterwards. The guy was just going off about how everybody was a nerd and the computer still worked afterwards. Like, that shit you built was a fire hazard, my dude. The RAM slots aren't even in the right way. Anyway, there's other YouTubers that covered that and they roasted the build, but the Verge has just not learned their lesson, so, you know, your boy Swampy is here to expose them. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good day. Look out for them dang pre-builds.